Almost all the good mobile games are named from the last 8 years, and the iPhone came out 15 years ago as of the script. When Angry Birds franchise rose, mobile gaming quality rose. When a franchise declined, mobile gaming quality declined. The Angry Birds franchise needs to come back. Without it, mobile gaming is going to stay in the dark. Which is why I hope these videos on how Angry Birds games could have been improved will help them bring them back even better than before. Who knows, maybe it might inspire you to dive into this side of gaming. We're going to skip the first game since there are so many versions of it and Rovio did improve it with their updates since that is the only game that receives such attention. So yeah, there is a point to these videos. So let's start off with Angry Birds Seasons. This game was a brilliant sequel to the original Angry Birds. We got some quite iconic birds, such as Bubbles, and we have a great variety of levels and maps. Obviously, as you can tell, we only have this much variety thanks to the updates over the years. It is a pretty great strategy because you probably have a lot of Angry Bird games, and then you never get bored from the franchise, since updates would be frequent, and when you finish the content from one update, another game gets updated. Pretty clever strategy. This applies to Seasons quite well, since this is easily one of the harder Angry Bird games. I struggle at this game enough right now, I can't imagine how much I struggled as a child. Which brings me to my first point, difficulty. You can go ahead and call me someone simply bad at gaming. Maybe I am, but I did Star Wars in space as a child, and I could see in my replay how I did that. In fact, I barely have any memory of me playing Seasons as a child. I remember playing the original, Space, Star Wars 2, and more of the slingshot genre. In fact, I do specifically remember completing every level of Star Wars and Star Wars 2 as a child. I also remember completing the levels of many of the slingshot games, but I just don't remember much from Seasons. It just wasn't that fun thanks to its difficulty. This difficulty is great for older kids and teens, but the people who really play this game are children under 10. Now I know that for some of you, Seasons was the best game. I could see why. There is so much level variety. However, chances are, you just did a recent replay of the game, and while you had no problem with difficulty, as a child you might have said differently, so dude. Besides difficulty, what else do you have to say? Don't tell me you just keep repeating the same point over and over again. Well, another issue with Seasons is that it's a bit repetitive. What I mean repetitive is that after a while it can get quite boring. Now this might have to do with me playing too much in a day for this video, but it's quite easy to get bored after a while. All the different structures and birds doesn't stop it from getting tiring after a while. Wait, but doesn't that apply for all the main Angry Bird games too? Seasons tried their best. How could you possibly improve that? Well, Seasons introduces pretty much everything at once, and then there's almost nothing new to add afterwards. But you know what? Let me introduce you to the idea I got when I played the first level of the Angry Birds basketball map. While the rest of the levels followed the same formula as the rest of the maps, this level gave me an idea that could have made the gameplay more fresh. When I played, I was temporarily excited for what was to come. Do you know why? Maybe there was a new goal. Instead of trying to directly make the structure fall apart, the goal was to make something pass through the basketball hoop, which in turn would make the entire structure fall apart in one go. I had a new goal, a new strategy. I wanted to get something through the hoop, because trying to pop the picks directly would have been way harder. This would have been a cool idea. It still had the same destructive physics as the regular gameplay, but it used it in a different way. We could have half the game in the traditional way, and other half different strategic concepts. That would motivate people like me and possibly you guys to continue playing this great game. Besides difficulty level and repetition, I don't think there's anything else to say about this game. Bring us to the next game, Rio. But that's for another video. So yeah, that is how I believe Angry Birds Seasons could have been improved. I don't think I have anything else to add to this game. Subscribe so that way you can get notified when I talk about the next Angry Birds games, some of which I have a whole lot to talk about. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!